Hi, this is Paula from HeKate Crossing. Now, what I want to talk about was I've been listening to Anna from Astral Lady Tarot, and she did a sort of a video in regards to clairsentience, clairaudience, clairvoyant, etc., in regards to working with tarot or doing psychic readings, etc., your experience with the your own psychic abilities. Well, for me, it was quite an interesting sort of journey, as in, I don't want to go too much back into childhood, etc., because that's another story, but working with tarot, I discovered my love of tarot. Absolutely loved working with tarot. Now, what it was, I actually picked up a girlfriend's deck, the Native American Tarot by Magdalene Gonzalez. Now, I picked up this deck, and straight away, without looking at the book, anything like that, I started to read the imagery of the deck. I started to read the keywords, the thoughts that came to mind, the different aspects. Now, as I grew and developed more within myself, I found the tarot and different oracle decks as well. I found it when I was reading for a client, especially when doing one-on-one, face-to-face, you know, energy was just the two of you. Just seemed to be able to, for me personally, I found the tarot as a bit of a doorway, a portal, to allow those spirits that needed to come through for the client in a reading. Doesn't always happen, just when necessary. I would get maybe a spirit would come, you know, if someone who had passed it would come through with a really clear and concise message. There was no waffling, it was just this. Yep, made sense. That's all the client, you know, that's all it needed to know. Sometimes I would see things, or I would hear something. Sorry, I stopped mid-sentence. What I was saying was about the tarot cards and how they sort of enabled me to open up to the spirit world in the reading. I mean, I was already connecting, but I wasn't using it for my readings, and then all of a sudden I started to sort of hear stuff coming through, seeing stuff, feeling stuff, and that for me was my experience when I was doing tarot full time in a store, mainly. I wouldn't do it so much in regards to being like at psychic fairs or expos or anything like that, because I was doing really quick readings then. But once I sort of started doing sort of half hour, 1 hour readings, mainly 1 hour readings, suddenly spirit was coming through, there were messages and stuff like that. And I remember once shuffling a deck and shuffling away. It was the Enchanted Maps. And anyway, so I was shuffling away, and one of the cards flew out, and then suddenly I got the words white horse, white horse. Why did I not have a white horse at my funeral? And I'm thinking, what's that about? And so I said, why am I hearing this? And I told the client, and she was like, oh my God, that's my daughter, she passed, and we were supposed to have white horses. So really specific stuff was coming through, which was quite cool. You know, it was very clear, it wasn't any waffling, so I knew, because of the messages being so clear, that it wasn't just my imagination. But I felt, for me, I only was allowing that sort of energy to come in when I was ready to work in that, with that energy. And a couple of times I've done sort of readings for people, and then there was like the taste in my mouth. And I remember I was at a store at somebody else's store actually, and I was doing a reading, and I suddenly got this awful taste in my mouth, and I turned around to the client and I said, "Oh my God, have you been sick?" And she said, "Yeah, I was vomiting." And I was like, "Oh my God, I just picked," you know, it was like just that day of the reading she'd been vomiting, so it was like I'd picked up that taste in my mouth, and I couldn't get rid of that taste for ages. And so I went and had a cup of coffee with at a cafe, and I went to drink the coffee, and there was a fly in it, and so I handed it back, and I just said, "Look, I just need to clean my mouth, and I don't need it with a fly in it," you know. And I was thinking about that, you know, that sick feeling that I had from that client, but that sort of thing. And then, you know, so those experiences sort of happened and developed when I was using my tarot cards, which I was quite lucky in just being able to sort of keep that energy for working with the tarot and stuff like that. And so, yeah, different experiences, and like reading and then suddenly feeling like I can't breathe properly, and then turning out that the client's mother, who had come through in a reading, actually had emphysema and so wasn't breathing properly, and so being explained and that sort of thing. So those experiences did come through reading the tarot, but not all the time, only when necessary. And I think that's part of it. The more you use the deck and you're prepared to open up, you can develop what you already have within you. I think everybody can enhance their abilities if that's what they choose to do. Otherwise they lay dormant. I don't believe you have to have psychic abilities to read tarot. Once you have an understanding of the basic keywords, I think, and do study and keep learning, I think you can read tarot without developing your psychic abilities if that's what you choose to do. If you're a logical, sort of practical type person, you may be somebody who doesn't want to develop their psychic abilities but still want to use tarot card. Yeah, go for it. Just get the understanding of the basic keywords, and you can do a real basic, not basic, but a real decluttered reading. It'll give the client exactly what they need in the messages and stuff like that. So I think that's really important as well. It's part of being able to really give the client the best possible message in the best way you can, and done with integrity, and, you know, just being really clear about the way that you deliver the messages as well. Sometimes I'll do a reading for somebody and I really hear clearly certain words, or even if I'm doing a collective reading, I'll sometimes be shuffling and I'll get really clear words about what needs to be done, or I'll see something in particular, they might show me something. So those things do come through for me, and I think everybody can develop them or enhance those abilities if they choose to. You don't have to, and you don't have to use those abilities to develop your own tarot practice. I think your tarot practice can come from, if you wish to, can come from study, and I'm talking practical study in looking at, if you want to use the astrology aspects, or you want to use the Kabbalah, or the esoteric magic thing. Maybe you pick up a crystal deck, a crystal tarot deck, or a crystal oracle deck, or whatever you want to use, and you're able to use intuitively or knowledgeably. You can use your knowledge in regards to the crystals. Say you've done lots of study on crystals, and you can go, well, you know, you've got amethyst has come through in a reading, you've picked up amethyst, and you're going, okay, that's cool, that's to do with your you being tired, or maybe you've got insomnia, or maybe you're awakening to the truth of the situation, or you're connecting to spirit on a divine level, or, you know, in whatever way. And maybe clear quartzes come through and saying, oh well, you want some clarification, or maybe you're clearing away all that debris that's going on. So you're using your knowledge of the crystals to do a reading. It's not necessarily intuitive or anything, you know, it's not psychic abilities. You're not receiving messages from spirit in any way. You're not receiving feelings. You're not receiving a message. You're not receiving words, or you're not receiving visions or anything like that. You just know from looking at the crystal what the meaning is, and that's the message. So, or same with runes. You don't have to connect on an intuitive or psychic level to do readings. I know some fantastic readers who read tarot with really simple keywords, and that's it. And they can do really clear and concise messages in that way without using their psychic abilities or their really connecting intuitively. They can just flip and go blah 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 blah, and that's it. Just really quick, concise message. I mean, different people work in different ways, and I think that's what I love about tarot, is the fact is everybody can work differently. And you know, so the clients then have, or the querents have different people that they can go to in different ways. So I think that's really important. You know, like I said, I started using the Native American tarot, and just by using the keywords, the images, the messages that were coming in from the words from spirit, sometimes I'd lay out all the cards face down, and I would start talking, and I hadn't even turned the card, you know, I'd only looked, maybe glanced at the first card, and suddenly I'm start blabbering on and not even realizing, oh my god, we haven't even turned the cards over. I remember one day doing a reading for a client, doing a Celtic cross, or a Celtic cross, whatever you like to say, and I'd laid all the cards out upside, you know, face down, so I couldn't see what the cards were, and I just started blabbering along, and the client looked at me and goes, Paula, when are you going to actually start reading the cards? And I went, oh shoot. So I turned the cards over, and I'd already said the message, and it related perfectly to the cards already down below. I mean, everybody's different, and I love, that's one thing I do love about tarot, and we all use tarot in so different ways. And for me, tarot can be predicted. I mean, all the clients that come, they want to know what lies ahead for us, don't they? They want to know what's going to happen next. And I remember one day in my own shop that I was, the healing centre that I had, and anyway, this healing centre, and I had done a reading for a client, and about a year or 2 years later, he came back and he goes, oh, you know that reading you did for me? And I'm like, no, but yeah, you know, because I don't remember every client's reading. I don't remember the messages. Once it's come through, that's it, it's finished. I don't remember it. Anyway, he said to me, oh my god, I got back to wherever he was going in the Middle East, and he goes, oh my god, everything you said came true. Something happened, and it was like, oh my god, that's exactly what she said, you know. It was exactly what I'd said to the client, you know, this was going to happen, and then it did. And he was like, oh my god, you know, and you saying what you did enabled me to handle it in a better way than I would have if I hadn't have known. You know, you gave me the tools to handle it in a better way, so that was really cool. So the feedback like that is really cool as well, when you sort of talking to clients and you've got these messages clairvoyantly or clairaudiently or clairsentient or clear scent, or with the taste and you know, that knowing, that sense of knowing, those feelings when you get all those messages that come through, and you client comes back and goes, oh wow, you know you did that, you know, you said this and this and this, and they come back and they're like, wow, you know, did I, you know, I can't believe that, you know, because too now, even now, I think, you know, I think at the time that I was just so unsure of, and I still say, you know, message may or may not resonate, it may not come into fruition, something may change. Remember, the future's not set in stone, and the messages that we're getting are just coming through because of maybe a energy that you're carrying at this moment, and suddenly I've told you this message, and so you shift and you change, and then something shifts, or you go away and think, nah, I'm not going to do that, I'm going to change my mind, I'm going to do this instead, because something else has suddenly happened, somebody else has come into your life, and you're like, oh cool, you know, I can change my mind, I don't have to do that, or, you know, remember, nothing's actually set in stone, and I think that's what I love with the readings, is yes, these are possibilities of what may happen, but it may give you the ability to make some different choices, or look at things from a different perspective, or react differently in some way. So I think using my abilities, now it doesn't always happen. Sometimes I'll just get a message and it's just straight from the cards. It's just reading the, you know, what I'm getting. Maybe something colour stands out, or I get something a bit more, or, you know, something develop, you know, something else sort of comes through. It's a little bit more than just the imagery, which can happen, but it's not all the time, and I think that's what's important to acknowledge, that we grow, we develop, we change. The client might need this, or the client might need something else, or whatever. And I think that's part of the appreciation for our own gifts and our own, or what we're given to develop within ourselves. And we don't all have to be the same. We're not all clairvoyant, or we're not all like I don't all the time see or hear or feel or taste or anything. I don't do that all the time, but that's come with practice. I've learned to sort of use it like a bit of a dimmer switch, if you like. Turn the switch down a little bit. It changes, and I think that's it with cycles. You know, our cycles change. So anyway, I sort of rambled a little bit about that. It was a little bit longer than I thought it was going to be. So anyway, that's it from me. My thoughts on working with the clears and the way I develop. It was funny, I did write an ebook. I sort of really didn't really mention this. I did write an ebook at one stage, 2011, I think. I might have started the book 2011. I had written an ebook, and I wrote the book, and my partner at the time got it printed out for me, and then I sat and read it, and it was like, how did I know that? And I realised that the ebook was actually written it was spirit-led, and the cover that I'd painted was also very spirit-led. It was like, it was amazing. It was, you know, it was quite different. So I actually wrote an ebook, and that was completely, I mean, I had no idea in some of the information that was written, and I just typed it. I mean, I just focused, just took a deep breath and just let myself type, and discovered, you know, it was totally spirit-led. It was like stuff that I had no idea I'd written, and so that was quite a sort of freaky experience in a way. I actually sold quite a few copies while I was doing my while I was working at the Holistic Healing Centre, and selling decks and selling bits and pieces and stuff like that. But I did find that connection with spirit was quite strong, and I think that was part of doing the healing and the readings and doing it, you know, basically 7 days a week, and you know, and so the more you use it, the stronger it can become in some instances. But it's always enhancing what you already have. That was the name of the title of the book. Enhancing what you already have, you know, or how can you enhance what you already have, how. So anyway, that's my blabble about psychic abilities, working with tarot, that connection, my experiences, and we're all different, and that's what I want to really stress, is not everybody chooses to work in that way. And that's okay. For me, it's not about doing mediumship readings or psychic readings or anything like that. For me, it is just reading the tarot, and whatever comes through at that time for the client or the parent is what's important. As long as they get the message that they need, that's all that counts. So anyway, that's it from me. Take care and blessed be. Don't forget to check the links below, check the links on my channel, and don't forget to like, subscribe and ring that bell so you know when the next video will be uploaded. So that's it from me. Take care and blessed be.